Look at the boundary dividing India and Bangladesh. Much of it isn't solid ground. Thousands of miles weave through dense forests and vast river networks, creating wide stretches of open water where building a physical wall or fence is structurally impossible. Through these geographical gaps, a quiet reality persisted for decades. Undocumented migrants regularly slip through the porous zones, moving across the border with relative ease. Yet, if you ask the leadership in Dhaka, this migration does not happen. Their official stance has long been one of strict denial, built on the assertion that a thriving domestic economy means citizens have zero incentive to leave. This created a very fragile status quo. Indian border states quietly managed the leaks in the system, while Bangladesh officially ignored them. The entire arrangement survived solely because both governments agreed to avoid talking about it in public. That diplomatic silence shattered after recent state elections in India. Hardline campaigns run by the BJP secured sweeping mandates in key border states like West Bengal and Assam, powered heavily by aggressive anti-immigration promises. In Assam, the newly empowered government immediately targeted a specific piece of legislation. They pledged to reactivate the Immigrants Expulsion from Assam Act of 1950, a long-dormant law explicitly designed to identify and remove undocumented residents en masse. The reaction across the border was instantaneous. A Bangladeshi member of parliament stood before their legislature and delivered a viral warning. Their country needed to prepare for an imminent, massive influx of displaced Muslims from their neighbor. A local democratic choice in India had instantly forced Bangladesh to confront the logistical nightmare of a massive, sudden influx of people. Securing dry land is a straightforward engineering task. You build multi-layered barbed wire fences and deploy patrols. But tracking human movement vanishes as an option once the terrain turns into deep swamps and unpredictable rivers. Because traditional infrastructure terminates right at the water's edge, Indian authorities considered a highly controversial proposal to secure these aquatic blind spots. Instead of building over the water, the plan proposes intentionally releasing crocodiles and venomous snakes into the open rivers. The environment itself becomes a biological hazard, designed to physically terrorize anyone attempting the crossing. By shifting away from structural deterrents, the strategy relies entirely on weaponized nature, elevating border enforcement into an act of calculated psychological and physical terror. That escalation in extreme physical tactics is now being matched by the extreme public rhetoric of the newly empowered political leaders. Assam's chief minister took to social media to brag about the midnight expulsion of 20 undocumented migrants. In his post, he bluntly stated that rude people don't understand soft language. Political grandstanding is common, but this post included direct photographic evidence of the migrants being pushed back. By showing the faces of the deported individuals, he definitively shattered Bangladesh's long-standing narrative that these crossings were a myth. Dhaka retaliated with an unprecedented diplomatic move. They officially summoned the Indian envoy, issuing a formal protest against what they viewed as a severe breach of international decorum. However, former Indian diplomats quickly dismissed the protest. They counter-argued that illegal immigration is an undeniable reality on the ground, and acknowledging raw truths is a necessary step to solving the issue, regardless of the diplomatic friction it causes. Public photographic proof has made diplomatic silence impossible. Both governments are now forced to confront an issue they spent decades trying to hide. But beyond the political point scoring, the logistics of this situation point toward a looming disaster. Bangladesh operates under severe internal resource constraints. The country is already shouldering a massive pre-existing burden. To their east, they house an enormous population of displaced Rohingya refugees who fled Myanmar. Now, Dhaka fears a deadly sandwich effect. If India successfully executes mass expulsions from the West, Bangladesh will mathematically collapse under the sheer logistical weight of two simultaneous displaced populations pushing in from both sides. India successfully fulfilling its internal security promises directly guarantees the logistical and humanitarian collapse of its neighbor. This dynamic creates a rigid new equation in South Asia. Domestic election mandates in one country now possess the power to dismantle the internal stability of another. The outlook remains bleak because neither side can afford to back down. Indian leaders are bound by the hardline promises that got them elected, while Bangladesh simply lacks the physical capacity to absorb the incoming wave. Closing a border is a geopolitical trigger. It's a move that leaves millions of lives caught between two countries, whose domestic political promises simply cannot coexist.